In line with what Stu said, this is a bit of a bonus presentation that wasn't initially in the program, so it is a very quick presentation, but we thought that given the recent publications, it would be timely to give you an opportunity, probably more to ask questions than spending too much time on the presentation itself. So just a little bit of a reminder, what is KVDS, or Kiwifruit Vine Decline Syndrome as it's become known? In 2012, our Italian growers started to notice a decline and death of kiwifruit vines. It was initially limited to a region around the city of Verona and became known as Verona vine decline. The syndrome started to be observed wider afield and was renamed La Moira, or the Italian for the death. Now it's found in all the major regions, growing regions in Italy, and researchers over there have adopted the phrase Kiwifruit Vine Decline Syndrome. So in terms of just wanting to give you a little bit of background to all the various names that have been around the place and wanting to kind of connect them all together and just let you know that it's the same thing that we're talking about. So what is KVDS? It's a common name ascribed to a symptom or a set of symptoms that are being observed in Italian orchards at the moment. It's typically characterised by vines that, particularly after that period of fruit set, when a stress comes on the vine as it's growing that young fruit, and we tend to get into our hotter parts of the season, you see quite a rapid wilting and then basically collapse and death of vines. The answer comes when you look into the soil, and what you see there on the top right-hand corner of that red circle is healthy feeder roots, nice and white, and those fine little root hairs that go out and get the water and the nutrients, versus the bottom, more left-hand circle is where those feeder roots have died and they've been slothed off, and obviously a root like that can't take up water. So latest estimates are that 3,000 hectares of Haywood are affected by Kiwifruit Vine Decline Syndrome, and the Zespri team estimates about 3% of our Gold 3 area is impacted. So what is causing KVDS? Unfortunately, at this stage, we're not in a position to definitively say what the problem is, but we have a good working hypothesis that it's related more to environmental factors than any kind of pathogen. Anyone who's been to Italy will have experienced the soils over there and realise in most of the regions it is a pretty challenging situation. They're characterised by low organic matter, a high clay content, and we all know that kiwifruit hate wet feet. Italy, like a number of our countries, are suffering the impacts of climate change with more frequent and extreme weather events. And my colleagues here have shared some data of the most recent rainy years, and what you see is a proliferation of rain in that November period. Again, let's switch into the Northern Hemisphere production calendar. This is after harvest, late autumn going into winter when the vine isn't using a lot of water, and then those already heavy soils get filled up with water and the root system becomes significantly compromised. Now that is the sort of situation where Phytophthora, which is an oomycete, a member of the microorganism family, tend to proliferate and have an impact, as do other fungi that are Phytophthora-like. I think that it's important to stress the fact that although it is possible that a microorganism is involved, that organism is having an impact because of the pre-existing environmental conditions. So what should New Zealand do? I'd like to reassure you that Zespri and KVH are monitoring this situation carefully and have been since we first heard about this problem from our colleagues in Italy. The Zespri team in Italy are part of a nationwide response to this issue and taking a really positive, proactive approach to being part of the solution. From a New Zealand perspective, although I have been at pains in this presentation to reassure you that we don't think that there is a microorganism involved, again, it's a case of prevention is better than any kind of cure, and it reinforces our need for biosecurity protocols. Now, based on the information available, KVH is confident that existing requirements are adequate to deal with any potential risk from KVDS. And we've got some additional things happening at the moment in terms of COVID-19 limiting travel, so limited visitors to New Zealand from these areas, and previous work in relation to the cleaning requirements of machinery out of Italy for brown marmorated stink bug are likely to help mitigate any potential risk associated with microorganisms if they're involved. But at the end of the day, it comes down a lot to the personal responsibility we all have as being biosecurity officers for our own orchards. And this, if a microorganism is involved, the conversation we've had earlier in the session around the reporting of unusual symptoms is our best opportunity to find something that is new to our country and starting to cause this problem and get on top of it earlier. And if you haven't done so, I urge you to download a copy of the Kiwifruit Growers Biosecurity Guidelines and have a look at the information they've got in there in terms of managing the risk of items coming into your orchards that could carry microorganisms.